Hello friends, good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar session brought to you by Asian Office of FPSB. Hope you are well and safe, and we pray for the health and safety of you all, your family, near and dear ones. We are discussing today something which is at the heart of financial planning. It is financial plan itself. Though we have learned the basic competencies of every single component of financial planning, be it funds management, investments, risk, retirement, tax or estate planning, and some of us specialize in offering services on one or more components in combination. There lies an art in integrating these components holistically into what we call a financial plan. The developing of financial plan is now a requirement in the new pathway curriculum. So the timing of this webinar is very appropriate. We have with us today Mr. Amit Kachalia, a CFP professional and founder of Institute Financial Care Private Limited. He founded this company way back in 2008. Around the time he also got certified as CFP professional. Amit is a practitioner and specializes in fee-only services. Today, he will be taking us on a journey on how to construct a client's financial plan using Excel sheets and modeling. Amit has authored a book and has also created software on this aspect. So, welcome, Amit.
Yeah, thank you, Alok sir.
So, welcome, Amit.
Yeah.
Wish you a very warm good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. Wish you the same.
So, Amit, tell us about your professional journey and how you have chosen to specialize in this fee-only advisory.
Yeah, as you mentioned that I completed my CFP in February 2008. For people to correlate, that was the year of global financial crisis.
Yes.
So yeah, so initially, yeah, there are many hiccups, but the biggest hiccup which I faced was drafting a financial plan of a family. Okay, so integrating the things and everything. And if you recall, in those days, there was not much online support or anything available from any end, barring one online platform.
Yeah.
So based on that, we decided, okay, let me enter into myself Excel programming using Visual Basic and C++. So from being a chartered accountant and a planner, I entered into kind of a IT thing. And through that journey, the integration part, that is integrating all numbers, it's all about number crunching at the end of the day. So just joining the puzzle and giving the integrated version to it. And that's how a separate baby took birth called as FinPlan Writer in 2008.
Yeah.
Today we are having its version 10 actually. But yeah, so that's one part. So that's how the journey developed. And of course, since 2008, I decided that fee only model should be working. And fortunately, in 2008 only in FPSB's journal, one article was there on 5 professional models of starting your practice. And in that fee only model was also mentioned in a very elaborate way in 2008 itself journal. So that just clicked me. And of course, it was tough initially. But yeah, those tough days are gone now. Now charging fees is not a big problem. But for me, fee only planning, I will just in just one line, I will say that it's like being a financial surgeon with no pathological or pharma types. Okay, so that's the simplest way of what a fee only financial planner is actually.
Yes, Amit. So, Amit, I will be learning and just waiting on the sidelines. Whenever you want, you ask me. And
Yeah, sure.
go ahead, Amit. The entire session is yours.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit.
Yeah. Thank you, Pushkar sir, Alok sir, and the entire FPSB team for inviting me to conduct this said session. And a very good afternoon to all my CFP fraternity members and students. Hope you all are in good health under the current COVID crisis. Let me start with a disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by me in this presentation are solely of myself and may not necessarily represent the views of FPSB, and it makes no representation of warranties about the accuracy or suitability of the information provided in the webinar. But let me assure you that you are in safe hands. Now, let's begin with a caveat that I've been asked to teach construction of a financial plan in 90 minutes. But trust me, this is a concept which requires a full 1 day. But I'll try it. I've developed a curtailed version for you all, and I've already shared the case study with you in terms of you all trying hands-on initially so that you can start integrating the things. But of course, the whole idea is that in this 90 minutes, what we have, we develop a construct a financial plan of a family. Okay, so I hope you all are ready. Okay, there are some assumptions which I need to make, that all who are attending this session are very well versed with financial mathematics, that is present value, future value, and all that stuff. And I'm also assuming that you have tried solving the given case study, which was already pre-shared by the FPSB team, or at least you are familiar with that family case study as your client. Okay, and this session is more about not teaching the basics, but on how to apply the theoretical framework put to use. Okay, and you're watching this webinar on one screen, and you will be doing the calculations on another screen instead of toggling around, because that will be too complicated at your end. Okay, and with these assumptions holding true, I'm giving 2 minutes for this if you want, and let's begin. Meanwhile, you are just arranging your system and everything as participants. Financial planning, I'll be just touching upon this part in brief, that as a practicing financial planner, broadly what should be our area of expertise, so, or what services we should be giving. So one is called as planning, that is the financial planning phase, second being the execution phase, and the third being the periodical review phase. In medical analogy terms, I call it as a diagnosis, surgery and medicines, and checkup. Okay, constructing financial plan comes in the first phase. Okay, that is the client is sharing all the information, and based on that you are integrating that information, that data, and constructing a financial plan out of it. That's the roadmap basically. Okay, so we'll learn with the first step. Okay, now when we speak of data, that is what client is sharing, we divide that data into two parts, quantitative and qualitative. Now, you must have learned this in our FPSB CFP course as in the introduction module as quantitative and qualitative. Now, the quantitative data is called as number crunching part. Okay, and the qualitative data, again, which you need to get from your client, is more to do with risk appetite analysis, the presentation, and the record keeping and all that stuff. Okay, now every time I'm using the word client, because obviously a prospect won't share this all data with you. The prospect has been converted into your client, then only confidence building measure is there, and then he shares all his confidential information with you, which, like, right now as a case study part, I have given you that in just 2 pages, right? It was so easy. But this data has to be compiled at your end, and then you enter into the next step called as drafting of financial plan. Now, this is a very interesting computer jargon: garbage in, garbage out. So its simple meaning is that if you are inputting wrong data in your calculation sheets, your output will also be wrong, or it will become illogical. So you need to be very fine in, very clear, very subtle in what data you are getting, how you are inputting it. So obviously I call it as the Excel link. So Excel or Open Office, whichever you want to use, this is the best language program, front end में कि which will be used for you to develop or construct your financial plan. Otherwise, if your garbage in part is not is incorrect, so what is going to happen is your financial plan becomes misplanned. Now, first step is, after you get the data, obviously you have to make some assumptions. Your assumptions have to be, your predictions have to be fair, reasonable, realistic. Like, let's say Indian family financial plan. expecting a rate of return of for equity market at 16%, 18% is not fair enough. Okay, so obviously you need to be realistic in your approach, whether it be inflation of the family or expect a rise in income of the family. Everything, if that is illogical or not to the tune to match the reality, then again it's like again garbage in, garbage out. So I will give some instances through which you can keep those things in mind. Now, when we speak of a financial plan, we are making this plan of a family. It's not just bread earner. It's bread earner, spouse, children, parents, and so on. Okay. So since no two family profiles are same in terms of their financial profile, health profile, or psychological profile, or their cultural upbringing, no two financial plans can be same. You cannot say one size fits all. No, that concept doesn't work over here. Okay, so customization is the key when you draft a financial plan. Okay, now let's go into the technical part, actual number crunching. So this is the first slide through which actual number crunching starts. Now I have already shared the case study, right? This was the case study I've already shared with you all. I hope you have downloaded it, gone through it, and even tried to attempt it. Okay, so this was the all the qualitative and quantitative information which was shared with you. Now this is compiled version. Then these are the list of goals. Now list of goals, if you check, there are priority numbers. These are priority numbers as decided by that particular client family. Okay, it's not that earliest goal comes as priority one. No, priority means the most necessity to next necessity to next necessity to important to less important to maybe luxury goal. That way the priorities are being set, which is obviously in this case already shared, but obviously you have to discuss with that particular family. Then this is the current cost of the goal. Okay, and this is the inflation rate. Now obviously each and every goal, the since the goal is different, inflation is also different. Like medical, we know that medical costs are rising at an alarming rate, so keeping up flat inflation rate of 6% to any girl, that logic doesn't work. Also you have to again client in a different city, in a different standard of living, will keep, so based on that your goals inflation rates will be different. Like I'll give one example. Um Education cost of Nasik will be different than education cost of Mumbai than education cost of Delhi. Okay, so we have when you're sitting with the family, you have to understand these facts and figures. Again, not just that fact, also the college and all that stuff. So yes, so there are different inflation rates for each and every education board. Now, cash flow is very important. Now, I've enumerated the total list of expenses which the family is currently incurring, and to each and every head, we have kept a separate inflation rate. So again, this makes more logical. You can't just apply blanket rate of inflation to all the expenses, because every expenses will be having different heads will be having different inflation rates. Okay, so again, now how this is relevant, this will have a very big direct impact on your retirement planning calculations, that I will show you when we come over there. Okay, now these are the documents through which you can grab this information and compile it. So garbage. Okay, so this is your data sheets, and obviously I will come to the final output later on. Now coming back to the main part. Now, when we want to achieve goal of any family, obviously, when the client has approached you, already the client must have done some investments. So we call it as present value of those assets. Okay. So these investments, whether they are right or wrong, right now we are not going into that part. Okay, the client is already having this investment. Let's say he has made some investments in gold, public provident fund, equity mutual funds, and so on. Okay, so these assets, client will be willing to sell, redeem to achieve certain financial goals of his family. But this may be short, so for that matter, some additional investment needs to be done per month. In Excel jargon, again, we call it as PMT. Okay. So this slide is very much relevant because in practical calculation, when I shift to Excel, this you will understand in greater sense. So keep very much, you can take a snap of this or whatever. This will matter a lot. Okay. Should I move further? Am I fast or slow? Anybody? Okay. Okay, I will increase the font size. I got a, yeah. Is this fine? Yeah. Okay, so now let's come back to the case study. Okay, now this family is already having some assets. Now these assets are in the form of what? Current balance in employees provident fund. Okay. Now this obviously you must be aware of that. This is direct. This has to be directly linked to your retirement goal because this person will get this money in lump sum in those years when he retires. So apart from this, all other assets, we can use it to achieve the goals of the family. Okay, I will share the case study link. Okay. Okay. Now, let us get this part very clear. Where are these assets? So this was mentioned over here that, okay, current balance in EPF. Then over here, plot at Palghar. Now understand one thing that this plot at Palghar, whether it is sellable or not, this was based on discussion with the family. Are they willing to sell this plot or not? If they are not willing to sell, we would have ignored it. And since they have confirmed with us that okay, they are willing to sell, we are mentioning it over that sellable flat in Palghar. This is allocated to our goals. So in short, keep again this part very clear. Investments already made, and if you are short, then we will be requiring some investment to be made per month. Okay. Okay. Then we are having equity mutual funds, large and others. This was again mentioned over here that the person is investing. So he's already invested 24.2 lakhs in some investment and another 20 lakhs over here. So 24 lakhs 20 and 20 lakhs. Okay. So this is this one, this amount, this amount. Now allocable. Now this part again I need to explain. Now, whenever you are having a word with your client, again, what you have to understand is that you have to divide the assets into two parts while discussion with the client. There will be assets which are usable to achieve the goals. So, in short, the client and his family is willing to sell to achieve the list of goals. In our case here, there were 11 goals. And there will be some assets which the family won't be willing to sell. So we call it as non-allocable assets. I will give a couple of examples. One, let's say in our case, the family is already staying in their owned premises, in their own flat. Obviously, nobody will sell that particular property to achieve some marriage goal or education goal of the children. So that goal obviously is so that asset is a non-allocable asset. Another example, there may be some part of jewelry which will be having some aesthetic value or maybe some inheritance value and so on. So that part of jewelry on paper it is an asset, but it is of no use to me as a financial planner because the client is not willing to sell. Okay, there may be some property which is disputed, again ignore. So this when we speak of, so obviously see allocable, how the calculation is done. In a case study, you have already mentioned that here is the gold calculation. If you check, 45,000 is the rate. Okay, 25 grams of pure gold is there at the rate of 45,000. That is around today's period rate. So out of this amount of gold, only 60% the client is willing to sell to achieve any goal. So other way around, 40% is not allocable. Same for silver. In case of jewelry, they are claiming that the client that okay, only 40% they are willing to sell. Okay. So what we do is so the calculation part comes 45,000 divided by 10 into 25 grams 6 to 60% plus 67,000 into 60% plus 5 lakhs multiplied by 40%. So in short, only 3 lakh value of gold the client family is having to achieve the goals. Second, equity this much, equity others this much, flat. Okay. So if you make a total of all this, other than retirement, these all assets, can I use it to achieve all my 11 goals? Yes. So this is towards achievement of your goals other than your retirement. Okay. Now, coming back to our rate of return. In the case study, already rate of return was mentioned. Okay. Now, 11.225. How this is calculated? Now, this is ready-made given, but let us do the back calculation. It's very easy. In investment planning module, you must have learned this concept. That is return on portfolio. That is return of one asset into weight of that asset plus return of another asset into weight of another asset. So if you do the calculation, this is already again shared in the case study that we want an asset allocation of in this format, that out of 100 rupees of investments, 5% should be in highly liquid, 25% out of 100 should be in debt. Now this is again as decided in the case study. This is all based on some model asset allocation profile which you can develop on your own. It's very simple that conservative will mean that more of debt, less of equity, and gradually aggressive will be that more of equity, less of debt. In our case, we are not going into how risk appetite analysis is done because that itself is a separate session altogether. Right now, we are not challenging that part. What we are learning is how the rate of return was calculated. So it will be weight into returns plus weight into returns. Yeah, so plus weight into returns plus weight into returns plus weight into returns. So that's how you got your answer as 11 point. So this is your target rate of return to achieve all your goals. Now you have to generate this return on what? On this amount. Okay, I'm receiving queries that sharing. Okay, where I can share. Okay, let's continue further. So we are having now two things available. You are having existing assets, this much. How much is it totaling? 77 lakhs 27,000. So this is your present value of your assets. This will be used to achieve your goal. And on this, what rate of return you want to generate? This much. Okay. Now comes the main part. How do we calculate the goals? Okay. So let me share the calculation part. Let me start initially with an easy goal. Okay. So that let's get the flow right. Okay. This was mentioned in the list of goals, right? We had one goal over here, home improvement, right? We had this goal, home improvement. Priority number is 11, years to achieve 5. Current cost of home improvement is 10 lakhs and rate of inflation is 7%. So how the calculation will be? See, in financial mathematics, if you are very good in timeline logic, then drafting a financial plan is again a cakewalk. What you do is, today's cost is 10 lakhs, your rate of inflation is 7%, okay, 5 years to achieve. So in short, current cost of 10 lakhs after 5 years at 7% will become how much? Okay, so you use the future value, obviously. Being students of CP, I'm sure you all are aware of this. So this becomes your N per, this is your rate of inflation, this is your PV. Okay, so the same cost will the same goal will cost you after 5 years 14 lakhs 2,552. Okay, now we have made it very clear as a conservative planning that just 1 year before your goal year, that is 4th year end, will be shifting all our money generated from equity and such other instruments to a liquid fund that is generating 5.5%. Okay, so that means that just 1 year before, when your goal is this much, you know that your goal is accruing in next 1 year down the line. Just 1 year before, what you do, you have shifted. So what you do is calculate the present value of this amount, 14 lakh. So 14 lakh to 1 year before, it will be how much? 13 lakh 29,443. So of course, I'll complete the whole story after I complete the timeline. Now, in short, you should be having in your pocket 13 lakh 29. You'll be shifting it to a highly liquid product generating 5.5 to become 14. Okay. Now 1329 will be for these 4 years. You have to generate at what rate? Our target return of weighted average target of liquid, debt, equity large, equity others at this rate. So using nominal rate concept, I'm sure you must have you are aware of nominal rate. Nominal rate means because it is investment to be done per month, you just can't use 11.225. You have to calculate nominal rate according to even FPSB standard policy. So what we are doing, calculating nominal rate of this, and I get as my monthly investment of this much. How do I go about it? So as I mentioned over here again, investment already made. Now, is this sufficient or not? I'm yet to check. Huh? I'm just teaching you step by step one, and I'll join the whole course in last 15-20 minutes. Now, investment to be made per month is pending from mine. So I calculated this. That is 22. How I'm just showing the calculation. This is your future value. Okay. So this is your FV. Nominal rate of 11,225 is your rate of return, which I am showing it over here. Number of years will be 4 into 12 because it is investment to be done per month. So 48 installments. Type 1 because investment we start immediately. So in short, to achieve this goal, you have to invest 22,122 per month to become how much? 13. Then shift it to liquid to become 14. So this is how the goal calculation is done. Okay. Now, let me show another goal. Obviously, I won't be able to show the calculations of each and every goal because this is the final summary which I would like to share later on. This is the final output. This is that system which we are using in our office. Fin Plant Writer, we call it as version 10. So this is the final output. This I'll be sharing it later on. First, let's understand the concept part. Now, let's calculate the second goal, graduation cost of Dipti. Okay. Let me go over here. Yeah. Now, when is the graduation of Dipti coming? If you check, yeah, Dipti's graduation is how many years down the line? 6 years down the line, and more importantly, 4 years of a graduation. So 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So 6, 7, 8, 9. The current cost of education is how much? It is, it is 5 lakh per annum. It is 5 lakh per annum. And such 4 years we are having. So what I did, there are three methods of calculating it. One is called as NPV method. Second is called as a factor method. The most easiest method of all is the real rate method. We know the rate of return. It is 11.225%. We know the inflation also. That is 8%. So what we do, we calculate the real rate. Real rate is nothing but returns minus inflation upon 100% plus inflation rate. So you get your real rate. This is your first step. Then second step is calculating the first year's education cost. Now 5 lakh, if you keep on inflating by what rate? 8%. So first year's education cost will be how much? 7 lakh 93. Next year it will be how much? 856 and so on. So what I do, this is your PMT. Okay. I will be using it as a PMT. Now, this is PMT. This is your rate of return and your time horizon, because the 4 years of education, it will be 4, type 1. Because education cost, you have to pay the education liability in advance to the college. So my goal cost is 30 lakh 38,362. Okay. Now I'm sharing the main final sheet. This is the software which we have developed. Okay. This is all integrated Excel based using Visual Basic and C++. But the main part is how the linking part is done. That is what we have to learn. Okay. That's what the whole today's session is all about, right? So if you see, my Dipti's education cost is how much? 38 lakhs 38,362. How many years to achieve this goal? 6 years. We had calculated the home improvement cost. How much? 14 lakh 2,000. I will again share that screen. This is where we calculated, right? Our target. So 14 lakhs, if you check, is your 11 number goal. Then 4 number goal is 30 lakhs 38,362. Okay. Now comes the main part. How do we integrate the things, right? I just check with the things about any doubts or queries till now. Okay, this screen is being, are people able to see this screen? Okay. Okay, so now how do we integrate it, right? That was the main part we have to learn. Here comes the main calculation to be done. See, now I've shown two goals, right? I've shown these two goals. That is your graduation cost Dipti and home improvement cost 14. This is the way you do all the calculations. Okay. Now let's assume that you have done this calculations and you are ready with the goal amount in respective years. Okay. Now interesting part is we do have how much amount of assets we are having, how much amount of assets, allocable value of gold, equity large, equity others, and flat sellable, right? So we are having 77 lakhs 27,000. Now are these assets sufficient? Let us check. Now what we do? Now this part is very interesting. Now what we do is this, what is your goal amount? Now again, this is there. You can, if possible, you can make a screenshot of this so that this figures you can keep on referring in separately. Okay, so these are all your goals. Now for use, for your simplicity, I've already kept it over here. So these are your goals. I'm keeping retirement goals separate because I need to teach that separately also. Now apart from retirement, these are your goals. 38 lakh 38, as you we just check right now. 11 number goal was this much. Okay, so these are your assets. Now, how these assets have to be used? That is what, because if you're short of these assets, then only you will be requiring to invest fresh amount for the family. Now, the calculation part is when this goal is accruing 4 years down the line. Let's check again. Let's revise it. See, this was your years to achieve. This is your goal number 2, right? 4 years to achieve. Right, 4 years to achieve. What is the 2 years undergraduation cost of gold? 6 lakhs 42,950. Again, how to do those calculations? We have learned this. Now, what simple calculation I will teach you is this is your future value, right? This is your years to achieve, right? But as a matter of conservatism, just before the actual goal year comes, just 1 year before, all your investment should be parked to 5.5% highly liquid asset. That's the logically the best way of handling the things also, and also mentioned in the case study itself over here. In the penultimate year of goal year, the funds to be shifted to highly liquid asset. Okay. So calculation part in front of you only I will show right now. What I'm doing, 6 lakh 42. Okay, I'm showing the calculation part right now. This is your goal. Now the reverse calculation, what you do is, this is your target, right? So you want after 4 years how much money in your pocket to achieve the undergraduation goal, 6 lakhs 42. Just 1 year before, you'll be parking your funds where? At liquid asset at 5.5%. You just calculate 1 year's PV. So 642, 1 year's PV comes to 6 lakhs 9,431. Okay, you can do your calculations. I'm waiting. Done? Okay. So 642, 1 year's PV comes to at 5.5%, 6 lakhs 9,000. right? Now, for these 3 years, what should be your rate of return? Of course, it is exactly, we have to go. So it is 11 point, how much? I checked it, 11.2250%. So 11.2250%, 3 years PV will be how much? 4,42,000. You can do your calculations. So just calculate present value of 6,09,431, 3 years at 11.225%, and you should get your answer as 4,42,912. Okay, is it? Great. Now, what you can do is, okay, so what, in short, now I will just break it down goal wise. Okay, so for this particular goal, can I safely say that out of 77 lakhs 27,700 which was readily available for this purpose, I use 4,42,912 for this particular goal, so that it becomes how much? 6,09,000, and then we shift it to highly liquid asset just 1 year before, so that it becomes 6,42,000. So the whole story is, the big game is 4,42,912 out of 77 lakhs is available for this particular goal. Okay. Similarly, if you do these calculations, there will be a point when this money will get washed over. That is, you'll be short of the funds. Over there comes the role of additional investment. You have to, obviously, these calculations for each and every goal we have to do. Okay, so I've already done this. Now what is happening? See, this is the total lump sum investment which the family needs to make, but the family is having only this much. So obviously, for if you check for the last 2 years of goal, last 2 goals, monthly investment needs to be done. Okay, so I'll come to that later. Let's first consume this part. Let's say another goal. Undergraduation Vinesh. Again, undergraduation Vinesh, our goal cost is how much? 7,87,641. Okay. Now, what we have to do is, again, so this is your goal cost. What you will be doing just 1 year before, what you have to do is shift it to liquid. So again, 1 year's present value 7,46. Again, for this many years, that is 6 years, your rate of return will be 11,225. So we'll be generating, you have to invest 3,94,000. So again, I summarize the things. You invest 3,94,332, invest for 6 years to become this amount of value. Again, shift it to a liquid rate of product to become 7,87, and your goal is achieved. Okay. So if you keep on doing this, all your assets will be consumed, and then only for the balance goals you will be required to invest per month. Like we came for medical contingency. I had shown that goal just some time back, that because see, now there is no asset available for that goal because all were consumed by my earlier goals only. So that is why I had to freshly invest 14,140. Okay. Now comes the main part, calculating the retirement goal. Okay, now this requires 100% attendance, because in case of retirement goal, your slightest mistake is having a long-term effect on all your calculation part. Okay, so for that matter, we have shared this particular uh, file. In that, cash flow is there, right? This is your cash flow. All the expenditures were mentioned. All the expenditures with a different head, and which each and every head there was separate inflation rate. Housing a separate inflation rate, utility a separate inflation rate. Obviously, for each and every family, this will be different. So why this needs to be done? Okay. So for that matter, you have to understand one thing very clearly. That each and every expenditure, what you have to think in your mind is, one, will this expenditure be continued even after Kaushal or the family retires? So Kaushal is retiring at the age of 60. So the person will be still paying property tax. So Kaushal, how many years he is to retire? If you check, we are having how many years to retire? Do we have it? Anybody? Yeah, he's having 17 years to retire. Okay. So now what we have to do is, current cost of goal is how much? Current cost of expenditure is how much? 7,500. After 17 years, it will cost him how much? After 17 years, it will cost him 20,196 at this particular inflation rate. So at the point of retirement, annual cost of property tax is 20,000, 1 year cost. This way we have to think till the life expectancy of the surviving spouse. Let's take another example. Let's say utilities. Obviously, even after retirement, this cost will continue. So for each and every cost, you have to think whether it will be required at the end after retirement also. Just for example, I'll show you. Let's say cleaning and maintenance I won't require after retirement. Let's just on a hypothetical basis. So I mentioned my some end date. So automatically it is not to be considered in my retirement calculation. Keep that in mind. Okay. Now, retirement calculation part. As I mentioned, this cost, I'm just keep this, if possible for you all, just make a note of all this figure. That is total is how much? 99,300. I'll show only this heads calculation part so that your logic part gets clear. It is 99,300 per annum current cost. Okay, current, it's a current cost of utilities of the family. Now comes the retirement calculation. This is the current cost. Kaushal is to retire how many years? Yes, 17 years? Correct. Now, inflation for this expense is how much? It's mentioned utility at 7%. So we are considering inflation for this particular expense as 7%. So when Kaushal retires, at that point of time, the same expenditure will cost him how much? The utility related 3,13,670. We are keeping a replacement ratio of 80%. Okay, you can consider something else also. You can consider 70%, 60%, rather you may increase it also. But let's say we stick to the given case study, there will be some drop in standard of living. So we are considering a 20% drop in standard of living. So 3 lakh 13, 80% comes to how much? 2 lakh 50. Okay. Now, how do we again calculate the retirement corpus for this particular asset? For that matter, we have to understand who is outliving. Whether husband, wife, we have to check. Right? So now, Kaushal is currently 43 years old, right? Deepika at that point of time is 39 years old. When Kaushal retires at age of 60, Deepika will become 56 years old. Okay. We have kept life expectancy for Kaushal as 85 and Deepika is 89. So if we check do the mathematical calculation, Deepika's life expectancy considered, so her 56 and 89, if you take this gap, this is coming out to 33 years. So whatever retirement planning we are doing it for 33 years. Okay. Now, it's very easy now. In the given case study, we have also considered one more thing. The moment family retires, we want to be safe as per the decision by the client that, okay, I want to play safe. So we have considered post-retirement returns of only 6.8%. So this is your rate of return. During retirement also, we still have an inflation of how much? Because this is just 1 year cost. Again, this cost will also be rising by how much inflation? So when Kaushal is 61 years old, 62 years old, this cost will again rise by 7%. When Kaushal is 63 years old, again this cost will rise by 10%. So we are having inflation of 7%, rate of return of 6.8. So your real rate is returns minus inflation upon 100% plus inflation. That comes to this much. This you call it as your PMT. Okay. So we are having now PMT, we are having real rate, we are having N per 33 years, right? And what you have to do is you have to calculate present value. So present value, real rate, PMT, N per 33, and you should get your corpus required when Kaushal turns 60 for utilities only as 85 lakhs. Okay. So I've done this calculations for you all. See, 85 lakhs is the corpus required, only 33 years of post-retirement planning only for utilities. Now, I want you all to just go through cash flow. So for each and every family, this part matters a lot. Okay. So if you feel like, okay, certain expenditure family won't be incurring after retirement. Let's take some example actually. Let's say, yeah, I've mentioned over here this. Okay, this is some, they are planning to give 30,000 or some other expenditure they have mentioned as 30,000. Supposing, now I will show the calculation part. This is very interesting. Miscellaneous, after 17 years at 6% inflation is coming out to same cost as 80,000. Its retirement corpus calculation is 18 lakhs. See, 30,000. So supposing through discussion you come up that, okay, that family won't incur this cost, then see, the calculation is gone. So this is what you have to keep. This is very crucial. If your cash flow, you are ignoring the fact that, okay, certain expenditures are, that's why we have to mention start year, end year. There will be some expenditures which the family won't incur after retirement. Ignore those costs, because by mistake also if you consider them, your retirement corpus will go haywire. Okay. So coming back to retirement calculation part. So this is how the calculation is done. Okay. So now we go in greater detail in retirement only. So this is total retirement corpus for each and every expenditure for 33 years of post-retirement planning. So the family should be having in their pocket 5 crore 69 lakhs 96,795. Okay. From this, we have estimated that they will be generating 22 lakhs because Kaushal is working. Okay, he's on as working as an employee, so he'll be getting 22 lakhs as gratuity and provident fund as 68 lakhs. So in short, boss is arranging 90 lakhs for him. So he is still short of, which in our module, if you must have learned, it's called as retirement corpus gap. So this is your age of 60 you should be having in your pocket 5 crore 69, so that 33 years of planning can be done. 90 lakhs arranged by the employer. So You are still short of 4 crore 79. Keep this figure in mind, okay? Because we will require this when we play with numbers, okay? Keep this figure in mind, 4 crore 79. Now, 4 crore 79, are we having? No, because 77 lakhs lump sum asset which the family had this way, right? This 77 lakhs. This was fully used to achieve goal number 2 to goal number 8 or 9. Yeah, 9. Okay. So for 479, we are not having lump sum investment to be done. So in short, we have to start investing separately. Okay. Now again, calculation part comes. I hope you are remembering that figure. Retirement, how much is it? 4 crore 79 lakhs. How many years to retire? 17. But what we do as a matter of practice, just 1 year before we shift all our money to 5.5% product. So instead of 4 crore 79, we require now 4 crore 54 lakhs. How it is calculated? 4 crore 79 lakhs. Present value 5.5%, n per 1, and you should get your answer as 4 crore 54 lakhs 11,112. Right? Now, how many years to retire left from this point? 16 years. So, for this 16 years, using nominal rate of 11.225, obviously, what you have to do is you have to calculate investment to be done per month. So, formula wise, again, I'm repeating, it will be PMT missing. Okay. This is your N per in years. We want investment to be done per month. So 16 into 12 months. Nominal rate divided by 12. Keep this as your future value. Investment should be done always at the start of the period. So type 1. So you should be getting your answer as 89,351. Now I'm sharing the main summary sheet in detail. See, so for this particular goal, the family needs to invest 89,351. Okay. Now for these goals, goal number 2 to goal number fairly 8 and 9, no fresh investments to be done. Why? Because 77 lakhs are sufficient enough to achieve these goals as and when they come. But for goal number further 9, 10, 11, we require monthly investment to be done. So in short, if I summarize it as a goal planning, I will again share my slide. Investment to be done per month and investment to be done per month and lump sum investment already done by the family. It will appear this way that 77 lakhs the family, I will, okay, sorry. Yeah. 77 lakhs and additionally 1,25,885 per month. This is sufficient to achieve all the goals of the family. Now, question may come up. Does the family have that much cash inflow per month, right? So let's check. We have shared the cash flow with you. Okay, so if you check the cash flow part, they are having sufficient funds. The Kaushal is getting in hand after paying everything, 28 lakh salary. These are your all cash flow expenses in summary form. So they are incurring 19 lakhs. Already they are investing 50,000 per month as investment. This was again shared in the case study. If you check 50,000 per month. So already investment is going on. It's not that they are not doing. So that is 50,000 into 12, 19 lakhs. So how much Kaushal is still having surplus? 8,84,000. Okay. Okay. 8,84,000. Let's check. Are we having that much? If I do the calculation, 8,84,000 divided by 12. How much per month I am saving? 74,000 fairly, right? Let's check. Yeah, 76,000. So it seems to be it's cut to cut for the family, obviously, in terms of their planning. Okay, but yes, goals are achievable. That's what it's very clearly indicating that 77,000 lump sum they invest and additionally they invest Totally they invest 125, 50 already being invested. So additionally 75, 76,000 per month, and their goals are achievable. Okay. Now, main part we have to learn is playing with numbers. Now, this part is the most trickiest part because I need to show you that even as I mentioned, garbage in, garbage out. So even if you make one silly mistake in your calculation in linking, see which I did in 2008, 9, 10 initially. Okay, so my plan I was sharing with the client, but it was wrong because there was some linking mistakes and everything. So I will show some calculation part and you just keep a note how the calculation changes. Okay, keep this slide very much in mind. Okay, retirement corpus, how much is it? 4 crore 79 lakhs family need to have. For that they need to invest how much? 89. I will just revise it again before showing the number crunching part. Okay, just for revision. Yeah, 4 crore 79. For that matter, we need to invest 89,351, right? This is what we have checked it. Now, what I will do, what was our expense replacement ratio? 80%. That is, the family is willing to take 20% drop in their standard of living, right? Now, if a client says that, your client says that, okay, Mr. Financial Planner, we want to maintain same standard of living as we are maintaining now. Okay, then in that scenario, what is going to happen? Sorry. Then the family requires 6 crores 21 lakhs. So from 4 crore 79, it's requiring 6 crore 29, and more importantly, this much saving per month family doesn't have. See, saving is insufficient. So you need to come to some logical terms. Okay. This goal, even if it's achievable, there is a shortage in this goal. Okay. So again, let's do something else. See, this is what I need to take the presentation part. So whenever this is just a summary of what I'm trying to explain, that playing with numbers. So if you consider the family's income is rising on a higher side, obviously the goals are achievable. When you speak of inflation, if the inflation rate you consider a little bit higher, you will find difficulty in achievement of goal. Let's say life expectancy, let's say it is 85, 89, let's say you keep it 90, 91. Again, the calculation changes. So case to case, when you're sitting with the family, you have to be very much logical, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned at the start, your estimations, your predictions have to be fair, realistic. Okay, they will be little bit deviating, but not to the extent that it is illogical. And I'm showing that illogical part intentionally so that you understand that you can't go wrong by more than 5% standard deviation here and there. Okay, let me show you the some calculation of let's say grocery. Client is sharing this information. So if client is sharing a wrong information, how it affects your retirement planning? So current grocery cost they have shared is at 1,20,000. They are considering inflation of 7%, right? Which is fairly possible. So if you say that, okay, no, client was conservative in sharing the things, he said only 60,000. In that case, 4 crore 27. See, the calculation they are not. And if you mentioned, okay, inflation, yeah, healthcare 8%, right? And let's check the goal part. Right now 4% in an original. Now, if you keep this as 10%, which in after COVID crisis is very much possible, it's 6 crores. So this is what you have to learn. Linking part is that it's all interlinked, and more importantly, the more realistic you are in all your calculations, just the more logical you are in your calculations, the more integrated way the plan will be, and it will be realistic, true to life to the particular family. Okay. So yeah, you keep on paying with this number. This you have to do it on your own, of course, playing with them. I will share the final output sheet. Don't worry, because I'm receiving pretty much queries that the final output should be shared or not. Yeah, I am sharing my file itself, the my film plan writer file itself for this case study. So don't worry. Main part is learning this cause effect part. Which figure will affect what calculations, that you need to be very clear. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're clear about it, then only this drafting financial plan is a cakewalk. Otherwise, you will be just stuck up and the things will become very clumsy. And at the end of the day, the roadmap is not sound for the family. Then there's no point in executing it, because your execution itself is on a wrong foundation itself. Okay. Yeah, this is one very interesting fact. Let's say in the given case study, we mentioned that they are having a real estate as sellable. Right? This Palgar flat, it is not sellable, right? Supposing the client says, sir, this Palgar flat, it is under dispute, and there are every possibility that we won't get anything. And if you see that, then the whole calculation again will change, because it is not sellable, which means it is not available for you to achieve the goal. See, 1,65,000. We don't have this much cash. Why? Because the assets are not available. Okay. So one adjustment and all your calculation goes for a toss. So you need to be very clear in capturing the data from the client. Keep that thing very much in mind. Okay. Now, my suggestion always is that try to use an offline platform, because when we speak of some ready-made online tools or something, the level of customization is very much missing. That's one thing. When we speak of cash flow also, each and every head of expense, we have to consider separate inflation, because standard of living is different, cities are different, families are different. Then Indian perspective, there are many assets client are not willing to realign or reallocate. You have to consider that fact also. Okay. Retirement corpus is each and every expense, separate inflation, separate calculation, and then you come to the retirement corpus calculation as I showed you. Okay. And last but not the least, risk of confidentiality. Okay. Now, the more you play with the numbers and everything, the more you will enjoy. Okay, so it's more about doing those trial and errors, and that's how you arrive and integrate the plan. Now, I will show an interesting fact about retirement planning. This is my favorite of all, actually. How much corpus we require? 5 crore 69. From that, 90 lakhs is arranged by whom? The employer. So how much we need to arrange? 4 crore 79, for which we need to invest 89,000 per month to become 4 crore 79, right? Now, what happens in future? So we go in time machine. Now Kaushal is 61 years old. Deepika is 57 years old. They are retired. They are having how much money in their pocket? 5 crore 69 lakhs 96,000. Okay. Immediately, first year's expenditure, using again, they have calculated the inflation effect. First year's expenditure is how much? 17 lakhs 53,000, considering all the expenses, right? From housing, utility, personal care, everything, food, healthcare, family care, everything. Okay. So 17 lakhs 53. What the family has to do? From their corpus of 5 crore 69, they keep 17 lakhs 53 aside. Okay. So 5 crore 69 they are having. They have kept 17 lakh first year expenditure when they retired. Okay. 17 lakh 53 minus on balance. Can we invest? Yeah. So 5 crore 69, 5 crore 69 lakhs 96,000 minus 17 lakhs 53 on balance amount 6.8% to become 38 lakhs plus. So opening minus withdrawal plus returns, corpus balance is 5 crore 91. Next year 5 crore 91. Again, each and every expense, separate inflation rate, they will now withdraw 18 lakh 78. But out of this, balance amount can be invested to generate returns of 40 lakhs. This is the okay. So 5 crore 16, sorry, 5 crore 91. This is the withdrawal. This is the balance per rate of return. This is the corpus. And what happens? 85 Kaushal dies. Okay. Even now, Deepika dies. This is 0. This is your control, whether your calculations are right or wrong. Are your calculations right? Yes, my 5 crore 69 lakhs answer is perfect because this is my control. It's virtually 0. So logic is perfect. My whole financial mathematics logic is perfect. Okay. Now, let's revise it in a different way. This was the home improvement goal, right? 10 lakhs was the cost of goal. How many years to achieve? 5 years. Inflation 7%. Yeah, sorry. Yes, 10 lakhs is the cost of goal. 5 years to achieve the goal. It will cost you how much? 14 lakhs, right? So what we did? We did the back calculation. To achieve this goal, just 1 year before, we'll be generating what rate of return? 5.5% return. To become how much? 13 lakhs. Now this, for this particular target, how much monthly investment to be done? 22,000. So 22,000 per month for how many years? 4 years. 11.25%, 225% to become 13, and then shift it to liquid to become 14 lakhs. Okay. So this is how you integrate the things. Now I'll be open to take the queries in just 2 minutes. Before that, I'm sharing the download link. Okay. For all who want to download this final output thing. Okay. I'm just sharing it. Okay. Is everybody able to see the download link? Yes, is it? Yeah, this is the download link for you all to download the final output. This is our file which is integrated. What I want is, that's a very simple and basic request, that the case study which I have shared, what I want is that you try to solve it on the given output sheet again. Right now, I'm giving you the filled ready-made output. You can delete everything and again try it on your own, and you should get your answers. Okay, that's what the whole idea is. That try to understand the cause and effect part. Okay, I am just shifting temporarily for the PPT part, and then again I will show you the download link. As I mentioned over here, just play with this. Okay, and I'm just sharing the output sheet. Yeah, this is the final output from where you can download. It's www.astutefincare.com/sample.xlsm. What you have to do is you have to enable your Excel macros, without which this won't work. Second, it will work only from Excel 2007 onwards till Office 365, and it will work only for a few days. Okay. Yeah, I'm open for doubts, queries, those who want to ask, so that any calculation part you want, again, I need to just brush it up, I can take it.
Hi, Amit. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. You're bang on target. And
yeah,
Amit, it's a solace that you advise the same way that we tell our people to calculate in individual goals calculations. So it will be very helpful. And it's solace to know that the practitioners also do the same way that we advise. It's very good.
okay. Thank you, thank you.
Don't you think, Amit, this financial planning is very scary? And the retirement goal itself is 5.69 crore.
Yeah, it is realistic, that's why it's scary. Realistic things are pretty much
Yes,
scary
yes.
nowadays.
Yes, and it's good thing that if we know the number crunching, you can know in advance what you are prepared for, where you
Yeah,
want to go, where you are, and so that you can accumulate the funds in the beginning itself.
correct. See, basically, I mean, I'm just sharing my personal perspective. When I started into this field in 2008,
Yeah, Amit.
I made my financial plan in 2009, and for 6 months I was in depression. Let me be very clear.
Okay.
Okay, so it took me some time for my own financial plan to be set that okay, I am nowhere. It's a long way to go. But then that's where the whole idea is. You keep on reviewing the plan also. So I mentioned in my initial presentation that every 6 months we review and update. Now, just to
Very
share,
accurate.
it is possible that if a family or even we as financial planners, if we go properly for our own financial planning, we can prepone our retirement to ages of 45, 50, 55 also. That's the biggest boon which a financial planner can get for himself and for the client families also. This thumb rule of 60 years, I don't get it. Just to share it on a very personal note, I'm trying to keep a target of 52 as my retirement age.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
right now I'm 43. So right now, thanks to Corona, I'm just some 1 year back somewhere. But yeah, target is bang on that 52. I should be retiring. I would not like to work till the age of 60. But that is possible because I know how much I should be getting, how much I should be investing for each and every goal. So that is what we need to teach to our clients also.
I mean, there's a question that what
Yeah.
do you take as discounting rate? Probably that question is about 11.2 to 5% that you
Yeah.
arrive
Okay.
as a cardinal rate.
Yeah, I will show that calculation part.
So you integrate all your goals and then you come to a cost of capital type of thing.
Correct. See the discounting rate. Yeah, screen is being shared, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of this particular case study only, we have to take the asset and its respective rate of return. So in this particular case, we were investing 100 rupees, of which 5 rupees was in highly liquid, 25 rupees was in debt. Okay, then 30 rupees was in equity, large category kind of, and another 40 rupees was in equity risky funds. So
Yeah.
the weighted average cost of capital formula is very simple, that weight of that asset into return of that asset plus weight of another asset into return. This I'm sure students must have learned in investment planning. return on portfolio, if you recall it. So over there, this is how we arrive at the WACC. Now, yeah, question may come up, why 5.5 and 7? Okay, this is just a given calculation which we are doing. You just change the figures and the calculation changes at the end of the day. But yeah, as I mentioned, that we need to be fair and realistic in achieving, in calculating this rate of returns and the asset allocation.
Also, Amit, it's about the assumptions that you make, because post-retirement inflation may be lower also.
Yeah, post-retirement, yeah. So instead of giving a lower inflation, what we can do is we consider the post-retirement standard of living ratio as drop. That is, in our case, if we have considered
All right.
80%.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's the other way.
basically,
Yeah.
instead of reducing the inflation, we are considering that 20% drop in either case a family will take. But there are people who will go other way around, that they may say that post-retirement, I will prefer to increase my standard of living. There may be this case also, na? So for each and every client, we have to think it differently. It may happen that a client may say, okay, after retirement, I will prefer to live a king's life. Fine. That is his requirement, which we have to fulfill as a financial planner. So we have to try to work towards it. But yeah, 20% drop is nothing but an indirect effect of your inflation only.
So it's all about number crunching and stress testing your plan once you have made it.
Correct. So this number crunching, it will make more sense that your linking part has to be damn perfect. Even if you are making a one wrong linking, garbage in, garbage out, then calculations are illogical, and based on that wrong foundation, you are executing the things. So it's like you have been not diagnosed with corona positive, but you have been given remdesivir medication. So that's how it is. It's as simple as that.
So Amit, we can do the calculations of separate goals also separately. Like instead of integrating all the goals, we can have separate plans for separate goals, like education goal, retirement goal.
Yeah, we can create a separate sheets. Like I'm just temporarily again sharing the sheet. Like this, I call it a sample goal. So it's like, let's say goal number 10 if I consider. So for this particular goal, if you see, it's emergency fund. Okay. Is it screen share is there, right?
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So for this particular goal, so for each goal, a separate page is there.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
Okay. So that way, and you can make a print. Obviously, see, right now since you are in online mode, but in case of client meeting, making a print, giving it a hard copy, explaining to him this is the way we are planning to move forward, and that printout report goes with the client. So when the client goes from your office, one thing is what, that he's carrying something tangible with him. So that has a very positive psychological impact for the client also. Okay, I have constructed a plan, handed over, explained him properly for 2 to 3 hours. Okay, then he's carrying it. So it's there with him. So he's having that confidence. Okay, I'm having one. It's like, again, a pathological report only at the end of the day. So that way he's having that feel good factor with him. And yes, all this is all printable. Now what I've done, I've already shared that link, and that link is this final output of this case study. So people can try and do their own number crunching on that file also.
Yes, it's great to have separate sheets for goals, and then you can make assumptions. I mean, one important thing is that the engagement part and communication part with the client. So all these assumptions you sit with the client and make.
Yeah.
Assumptions about
See, some things now we have to start. A good financial planner has to be a very good psychiatrist, actually.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like asking the client what is your life expectancy will misfire the things.
Yes,
okay, in India, it's discussing about that is still a bit complicated subject even after COVID. So, but what I will just share my way of handling it. A client,
very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we are discussing with the client, we gauge the discussion in such a way that what is his hereditary profile, his godfathers, where they're suffering from some heart attack, and like let's take one of my clients example. His father expired out of heart attack, his mother expired out of heart attack, and at an early age. So that was an indication for me. Okay, there is some kind of hereditary profile in their family. The family, the breadwinner was pretty much suffering from obesity. So these factors, no, I can consider safely that I should not consider life expectancy to be 85 in his case. It's very much through my eyes, through his my sense of understanding. It's clear that okay, for him 70, 75 is sensible. Okay, so that way some things you have to develop on your own through some practice and experience only. Some assumptions you have to make looking at the client and the family. Another example, when the client approaches your office, his chappals, shoes, what kind of brand of shirt he's wearing, that will give you a gauge about his standard of living also. What car he's having, is he having Honda City, or is he most kitna deti hai Maruti? So that gives another sense of his again standard of living. So advantage of that is, should I consider inflation rate 6%? Should I consider inflation rate 8%?
Yes.
So for a Honda City car client, I should consider higher inflation rate logically, because his standard of living is a bit snobbish. So these things you have to keep that in mind.
Yes. Good way to explain, Amit, because if you ask client what is life expectancy, he or she may not know. So it's good to deduce by taking the history, medical history of the client.
Correct.
So a lot of handholding with the client before you make assumptions.
Yeah, because your assumptions are illogical, your plan also is illogical.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Thank you, Amit. We had a great time, and this will be definitely helping people in how to make financial plans. And
Yeah, of course, time is too short for me to actually construct
yes,
a
I
whole
know
plan.
it's one day long workshop that you advise, and we are
Yeah, that I will advise a 1 day long workshop, obviously. But yeah, of course, all constraints and everything we have to think. But yeah, I'll be very much. I'm thanking the whole FPSB team to invite me to take this particular session. I hope students have at least they got a fair idea of how to go about it and how to integrate the things. That's what the whole idea of this our workshop was.
Amit, one thing, if a person learns about making financial plans, how much time he requires to create one financial plan? How many days?
See, for drafting the first financial plan, I took 15 days. And
15
that too
days.
with that too with many silly mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, but now there are many tools available, and I mean that was 2008, so that era is different. Now I speak of today. Actually speaking, if a person is having all data, I mentioned one sheet of documents required. So with all those documents, if the data is available with the planner, actually with full 2 days, a plan can be integrated.
So, Amit, we are getting in chat that please do one full day section.
Yeah, I'm ready with it.
Okay. Good, wonderful. Amit, thank you so much for your
Thank you,
time.
thank you, thank you,
Thanks so much.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.